Hello everyone, my name is Gabby and welcome to the probably final Dragon Ball Super review. And so this time we're reviewing episode 131. Frieza and 17 seem to get the upper hand on a both physically and emotionally weakened Jiren, until Toppo's encouragement causes Jiren to start fighting all out. As they struggle, Goku arrives to help and explains that him and Frieza will take Jiren on, with 17 backing them up. With their combined efforts, Goku and Frieza manage to corner Jiren and get him out of bounds, eliminating all three of them and leaving 17 as the sole remaining fighter, winning for Universe 7. 17 gets a wish from the Super Dragon Balls, and chooses to use it to bring back all the universes erased during the Tournament of Power, but the gods wonder whether that was what Zeno wanted all along. Whis brings Frieza back to life as a reward from Beerus, and everyone goes back to their normal lives, until we meet again. So, what did I like about this episode? Well, first of all, the final fight with Jiren. I mean, for one, it actually looked pretty good on its own, being the return of Yuya Takahashi, everybody's lord and savior. But I think my favorite thing about this, and the thing that I'm so glad that they actually did, was the fact that this fight, the final fight, was a team effort. And Jiren at the end was defeated by a team effort. And Universe 7 won from a team effort. It's a thing I was concerned about from the very start of the Tournament of Power. The fact that at the start of this arc, the characters kept sort of hyping up the ideas about teamwork and how that was going to be really important and how that would be important, and showing ways as to how that could be important in different situations. When I was watching those episodes, like over a year ago now, I always had that thought at the back of my mind that if at the end of the day, if everything just sort of comes down to Goku and Jiren punching each other and Goku getting really strong, then it's going to mean these messages are completely pointless and this entire part of the story is going to be pointless. And luckily, Toei seemed to agree, in that at the end of the day, after all was said and done, Jiren wasn't solely defeated by Goku mastering Ultra Instinct at the right time because he got hit really hard and he broke through his limits. No, Jiren got defeated through Goku and Frieza teaming up, and Universe 7 only won because after that kind of almost suicidal attack, 17 was still standing. At the end of the day, it makes it feel like the recruitment and everything that happened before the Tournament of Power wasn't pointless, and all of these characters weren't pointless. Not to mention the fact that out of everybody, it's Frieza and 17 who sort of end the final teamwork moment with Goku, two characters who are probably the most subdued out of everybody and are probably least sort of melodramatic about this all, makes the moment feel a bit more down to earth and less sort of cheesy. Also, I honestly really enjoyed the way that the wish to the Super Dragon Balls was handled. I know to some people that might actually come as a bit of a surprise, given that for basically months I've been advocating that I would actually kind of prefer it if the universes didn't come back at the end of the arc. Not because I don't like the other universes or anything, but rather just because I felt like if you did that and if you left these characters dead, you could make a story that kind of sort of means something even to the audience, because even they're kind of disappointed and kind of upset that these characters are being lost forever. But instead, we have 17 using his wish to bring back all of the erased universes and everybody coming back and everything being happy. And in all honesty, the more I think about this, the more I really enjoy this, and the more I think I might even prefer it to my outcome. And I think that's because of a few reasons. One is that it's actually kind of a really nice and surprisingly wholesome ending. I mean, the thing is, I was kind of expecting an almost sort of Toriyama-esque kind of nihilism story surrounding this whole thing. Something that is very classic Dragon Ball. That kind of story where all the benevolent figures kind of fail you and you surpass them in power really easily. The kind of story where Earth's greatest heroes are often kind of selfish and make mistakes and sometimes kind of harm the Earth as much as they save it. Dragon Ball is the kind of story where you could just be sitting around minding your own business when one day a god decides to blow up your planet for something that wasn't your fault and you can't do anything to stop it. But instead, in this episode, and presumably now kind of what's going to be the theme of this arc, is it's kind of entirely the opposite. It's that you can do something. Even if the world is kind of sad and nihilistic, if you really look deep into it, you actually have the power to change things. And this sort of works on multiple levels. 17 was given the power to change things in that he managed to get universes that were previously erased unerased from existence. All of the members of Universe 7 kind of got the power to change things, in that it seemed like Zeno was this person who would just kind of go around and erase universes for no reason, but instead, by seeing the fact that Universe 7 actually do care about the other universes, the Grand Priest implies that that kind of shows Zeno that the universes are worth keeping around. And also, finally, Goku has had the power to change things, because it's been through Goku that a lot of these characters have gone from rivals or bad guys or just anything to allies or good people. Even if it wasn't Goku who was directly responsible for bringing back everybody, it's heavily implied that it was Goku who was responsible for changing 17 to the point that 17 would be that kind of person who would be willing to do that. So at the end of the day, this optimistic feeling does also still come back to Goku, come back to the protagonist, and make it very rooted in this story. Plus, it's not like this outcome retroactively makes the stakes of the entire tournament disappear, like I was worried it would. Because even if we now all know that the opportunity to bring back the erased universes was always on the table, the fact is there was no guarantee that it would have happened. After all, if Jiren won, I doubt Jiren would be the one to bring back the erased universes at all, even if he's changed. We may have apparently lost the story of a really kind of messed up god forcing the universes to fight to the death, because that's just how this world works, but instead we got something different. We kind of got a story about the gods testing humankind to see if they're really worth it, and humankind eventually succeeding. And in a way, isn't that just so appropriate that the final test was given to and passed by an artificial human? God, there's so much to decode in this ending, and I was not expecting that at all. I feel like I could talk about how great this is for another 10 minutes, but I can't, because then this review is going to be too long, and also then it probably won't really be a review. Basically, it wraps everything up really well. Goku, 17, Frieza, Jiren, the other universes, Zeno and the Grand Priest, and what these characters really sort of mean, in an actually really nice, wholesome ending that's actually kind of inspiring instead of making you sort of feel empty. And that's just great. As for what I didn't like about this episode, well, in all honesty, there's really just one thing, and if you really think about it, it's also kind of a little bit of a nitpick. It's not a proper criticism, but I feel like I need to say it anyway. And that is that at the end of the day, at the very end of this series, at the very least, this kind of attempt at Dragon Ball Super, it ends on Goku and Vegeta facing off in a pretty much direct throwback to their fight in the Saiyan arc, and their desire to get stronger and to sort of be rivals. It ends on the Goku-Vegeta rivalry, and that's the note they end the series on. Now, I understand why they did it, and I think it also makes total sense, in that at the very least we know that the new movie is going to be related to the Saiyans in some way, and that probably means that Goku and Vegeta are probably going to have prominent roles in it, and maybe their rivalry will be prominent as well. So if this is kind of like almost foreshadowing to the movie, it makes total sense to end it like this, but that doesn't stop me from being a little bit disappointed. I feel like some people are under the impression that I just hate Vegeta in all ways, and as a result, basically anytime he shows up on screen, I am obligated to dislike it, but that's not what it's like. I actually quite like Vegeta as a character. What I don't like about Vegeta is sort of his role in the franchise and how the wider story treats him, especially nowadays. And that is that the story likes to say and imply and directly show that the entirety of Dragon Ball, that the core of Dragon Ball is in fact Goku and Vegeta's rivalry and their desire to get stronger, and that is the entirety of the series. It's something which I just don't really agree with, because yes, even though Goku and Vegeta and the Saiyans are important, there was a story of Dragon Ball before that all existed, and I've never thought it was as crucial to Dragon Ball as other people seem to think. Then again, basically everyone involved in the franchise has been doing this since pretty much the ending to GT. Even Toriyama kind of got into it with the Kanzenban ending, so I'm not expecting it to change, but that doesn't stop me from being a little let down every time it happens. So as for next wait, never mind, there's not a next episode. The next Dragon Ball Super thing we're going to have is, I guess, the movie. And we don't really know much about the movie, except we're getting new character designs, it looks like it's going to be really well animated, and there might be more Saiyans. I don't know what it's going to be like. I mean, we're so early on, like, speculating about it's probably kind of a bit pointless. But I'm going to be very interested to see it. At the very least, it's going to look cool. And that's great. So that was Dragon Ball Super episode 131. I think they ended this on a high note. We basically got the best of absolutely everything. Last episode, we got the entirety of a Goku-Jiren fight where Goku has a new power and he's beating up on Jiren and his ridiculously flashy animation. This episode, we had a fight where they beat Jiren with the power of teamwork, and it also managed to wrap up the entire tournament of power in a way I wasn't expecting, in a way that actually feels like it means something, and in a way that's actually kind of optimistic and nice. I mean, in a way, it doesn't really feel like it's the end of a series, but that's probably because, well, Dragon Ball Super as it is isn't really over. We've got the movie that's being branded as a Dragon Ball Super movie, and Super might come back either as another TV show or as more movies down the track. Basically, this isn't over. But what this was the ending of the Universe Survival Arc, and I think as the ending to the Universe Survival Arc, it was really, really good. Because somehow, after an entire year, it actually made me look at the story in an entirely new light that doesn't make me feel empty inside, and I think that's the thing that I just really needed right now. This is probably the point where everybody goes around and starts reflecting on Dragon Ball Super, on Dragon Ball as a whole, on what the future of the franchise is going to be, on just everything in general. And I mean, I'm probably going to be doing that at some point as well, but not right now because there's just so many thoughts going through my head and I don't think I can just get them all down in this review on top of reviewing this episode. But you know, if you want to know what I thought about Dragon Ball Super, you can always watch my earlier Super reviews. I have done one for every single episode, every week that Super has been airing consistently, although to be honest, my earlier ones aren't as good because I didn't really know how to edit videos back then. But yeah, if you want to know what I thought about Dragon Ball Super, why don't you watch that playlist, all 130 videos. It'll probably take you multiple days, and actually you don't need to do it. It's okay, you don't need to do it. I'm not telling you to do it. It's just that's a fun idea if you want to, and if you care about hearing me talk for hours on end. I don't know, it's up to you. I don't even know if I want to just sign out now because I've been doing this for so long. This has been like the most consistent thing on my channel. I don't really know what I'm going to put out consistently now that it's over. I mean, I am doing reviews of Pretty Cure on another channel, and I can put a link to that in the video description. So if you want to see me review things weekly, I'm doing that, and it's about magical girls. So there is that, but besides that, I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing. Might be reviewing GT, might just be doing Dragon Ball content videos. I don't have a full plan planned out, even though I knew this was happening for months, but you know, I'm not stopping YouTube or not making videos anymore. I'm just, you know, this over 2.5 year ride is over, and you know, I'm really glad I got to experience it all with you, and I'm glad you guys got to experience it with me. So this is Gabby signing out, and I won't see you next week because there is no Super next week. So yeah, bye guys.